Hello and congratulations. Um, I absolutely love the film. It is such a deliciously dark world that you've created. Absolutely loved it. So first off, I have to go to you, Philip. Where did this world come from?
Well, this work. So the film's very personal to me. It's that world that you saw is pretty much the world I grew up in. That's photorealism for me. I know I'm joking. That world of I grew up in yeah, a lot of the stuff is from personal experiences, and Cavan is filled with these gorgeous, larger than life, eccentric characters, and they do have a very sardonic, droll, dark wit, which I love. And kind of seeps into you as well. So all those characters and all that world, I think, definitely comes from a personal place and growing up in Cavan for sure. But it is a world where there is that sort of, you know, supernatural undercurrent running through it as well. And I did grow up in a religious, the Catholic, very happy Catholic upbringing, like a lot of us in Ireland. And my mother did have a lot of religious, she still does, religious figurines around the house, and being brought to church a lot when you're a kid. So it wasn't that far-fetched to imagine a statue chatting to you. So I think that kind of magical realism was always there as a kid and has always stayed with me as well. And yeah, I've always been drawn to, I'm not going to say we've always been drawn to darkness, but I've always been drawn to black comedy because I love subject. I think life is black comedy. You know, it's cruel and funny and at the same time, and it's bleak and hopeful at the same time. So I've never set out to write a comedy or in that sense, but I've always been drawn to that, and that's the black comedy is what I just think is the greatest express, or it's the truest expression from what I can see. And no matter how dark things can get, humor can pull you out of that, and it's always important to have a laugh no matter how serious the situation is. So yeah, all those things were in a spin cycle, Cara.
So then for you, Aaron, was it a combination of getting to work at home in Cavan again? Was it working with Philip? Because I know you've been friends for years. Was it a mixture? Tell me about that.
Oh, it was all those things. I mean, I've been a huge fan of Philip since I think we were in youth drama together since we were 15, and we've been trying to work together for years, like in certain plays and stuff like that. And I just admired this amazing job that he did, kind of co-building this arts creative scene back home. Like Cavan just exploded with arts while I was off doing other things. So I was jealously, watching and trying to be a part of that. And then he pitched this amazing film at me and kind of told me the story from start to finish. And apart from the fact that it just seemed like impossible to achieve, like I was like, I'm in, and like a year after he said he pitched that to me, we were making it. And I'm really proud to be part of a thing that was kind of funded by Cavan County Council, that's shot in Cavan, that shows off the amazing people of Cavan and the landscapes. Yeah, so I was in with 2 feet from the beginning.
Beyond that, it's such a visual film. I mean, when you're reading a script like that, did you find it hard to think, how is this actually going to be done? Was that something you were concerned about, or did you think, right, Philip can do this, he's got the imagination to bring it together? Was it ever any doubt there?
No, because I mean, Philip kind of like he works on the visual and the audio as well, and it's so theatrical. And whenever I've seen his work, it's been of a huge, massive scale. Like, and sometimes he's working beyond his means in terms of like budget, but he has this amazing team around him. So he described all these transitions and all these things so well on the page. The concern is that, like, can you get the right camera team to kind of capture that? And you absolutely did. Like from the get-go, he had this amazing cinematographer and amazing team around him. And then the next hope is that will make it onto the screen in the edit. And I think the editor, I think Philip will testify to that, Alan Quigley, absolutely got it. So yeah, I was never doubtful that Philip could achieve it. No.
Right, so on that front then, Philip, this team that you have around you, I believe that was actually is that your brother who is your production designer? Yeah, is that right?
He is, yeah, and we're still brothers. And
working together hasn't kind of killed the sibling bonds. Then no, not yet.
No, it strengthened it actually. If anything, Cara, believe it or not. So no, yeah, Joe is unbelievable. Like, he's such a talent. He's a real artist. He's a woodworker. but he's a true artist. But he's very experienced working in film and at a very high level, and working on big Hollywood productions in the art department. So he, like Aaron, was available around this time where everything kind of, the synergy was beautiful on this. And he, so it was great to work with my brother. Obviously he was, on board pretty early on. So we were working through drafts the whole time and talking the whole time. Pretty much we stopped talking about anything else. It was just about the film. But he, everyone loves Joe, like absolutely everyone does. So he had an army of volunteers working with him, an army of visual artists, an army of experienced set builders working in the film industry. He had people who had never even, set foot on a set before helping him. He had all those people working with him. So I think it's testament to him what he pulled off in a minuscule budget. So he's a powerful man and a real talent as well. But he had a brilliant team working with him on it. But no matter what it was that was on the page or how ambitious it wasn't we can't do this. It was like, how will we do this? And he was able to work with me and try and imagine that visual aspect as much as possible. He's no matter what the problem was, he had a solution for it, a very creative one.
Tell me about the rain. I'm going to ask you a question for both of you. Both of you first, Phil. I'm assuming you had some kind of rain machine, but I'm assuming budget-wise you couldn't have spent it all on that. So how did that technically work? And then Aaron, I have one for you on that front as well.
Yeah, well, I'll we both have lots to say about that, especially Aaron, I'd say. So yeah, you're right. Like in my lovely naivety and my ignorance was a blessing a lot on this. The rain machines we did actually look to price. 2 days, I think it would have blown the whole budget if we had a rain machine for 2 days. So, and the whole film is pretty much under rain. You can't do this film without the rain, So, but in fairness to Joe, again, he got a team together, led by Shane Connaughton, and he worked with local plumbing companies and the local fire service. The Cavan County Council were really on board with everything we did on the production. And we invented our own rain machines. It was just incredible what they did. And not just one rain machine, a whole different types of rain machines, some for the smaller scenes and some for the big, the big fight scene at the end. We had like a crane with a whole spread of water across the whole street. But that all came from pure imagination and pure technical invention and people working together and thinking together and problem solving. So yeah, that's how we were able to do it. It was just people finding a solution, finding a way, and being really creative.
Well, it is the job of the actor to suffer for art. But like seriously, how did you not get pneumonia? And were you miserable between takes? I mean, I can't imagine being that wet for so long. So yeah, how did you survive?
I don't know. I don't know. It was one of those things that you kind of figured out as you went along. Like I remember when Philip talked about the rain being such a huge part of the film, and like I think it's about 80% of the film it rains. I would guess. I remember kind of thinking like he's never going to be able to achieve that. So how is he? But like that's not my problem to solve. And they did solve it. They came up with these rain machines, and it was cold, and it was. But like you never think about that. You just think about it from shot to shot to shot. And then like I think after a couple of days, you kind of figured out, oh, we don't have any changes of costumes, but we might have to. I don't know, no change rooms either or anything like that. But like we could go into somebody's house and have a shower, and they were the loveliest showers you've ever had. We kind of managed to like not. It was getting wet every day, but we just managed to kind of go, can we avoid the rain for as much as we can and keep that till the end, or keep the getting wet till the end, and then go into a shower for 10 minutes and then go back at it again. And I think there was one day where I thought it wasn't getting wet. There was no rain on the schedule, but I think there was by the end of it. It was fine. I like it was cold but it was never miserable. It's just your job, really. What was kind of fascinating was when some of the other actors would come on set and they'd get wet. They're like, "Oh my god, it's freezing!" I was like, "Yeah, that's what I've been doing every day." But it was kind of fun, and like, I'm not you know, just not to underestimate what Philip was talking about in terms of those rain machines. It was amazing to watch Shane Carroll and his crew kind of put together those rain machines. In that fight sequence, there was a rain machine that covered pretty much the entire street. They had built this scaffolding along, and that entire crowd scene got wet, and we were doing, you know, so it wasn't just me getting rained on. It was Bershi, the camera guy. It was everybody. So it was your job, and no matter how miserable or cold it got, every time I looked at the shots and watched playback, you were just looking at this magical, amazing thing, and just went, right, let's get on to the next one. And like, it truly was, you know, feeding of what we were making. You know, it just kept you going every day.
Whoever thought it would be so hard to get rain in Ireland?
That's true. Well, yeah, and it did rain a lot, but you need to have the control of the rain.
The problem was trying to control the snow.
yeah, there was snow. The first day, there was like classic schizophrenic Irish weather. It was everything you can imagine, shape-shifting weather from snow to sun to rain to fog. We should have been doing a horror that day. But the lads were called the Water Boys on set.
Tell me this then, with having both, obviously theatre is such a massive part of both of your lives. So when you come to work in a film, does have that theatre background give you kind of a shorthand for working together in a film?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a lot of sequences in this film that is quite theatrical, yeah, I think Philip was able to describe how things were going to work and how things were going to look in that it would be slightly different from a normal film, and that was you feel I had a lot of faith in that, because you can kind of see it, because you know that there's a theatricality behind it, and Philip, you'd worked with a lot of the crew who had kind of helped you create those theatrical work before. So yeah, the shorthand helped. It allowed you to see the film, the sequences, the shots, and have a lot of faith in them, and kind of reminded you that you were creating something special.
No, absolutely, because the team that was working on the film, most of the production team, we were working together for about 10 years, doing a lot of theatre shows. Me and Aaron know each other for a long time. We were in youth theatre together as well. But the crew that were working together, like, we've been creating large scale theatre shows, some with a cast of over 150 people. So we had that, we were used to working together. We had that shorthand, thinking on our feet, almost be able to preempting what we're doing next as well. And all that that 10 years of making theatre together underpinned absolutely everything. And that team that we're used to working together. And yeah, there is an element that, you know, the theatricality comes into play in on the film as well. The set, the style of it, I guess, as well. But also bringing the music into the world of the film, because I've always used live music in theatre, and I've worked a lot with Robbie Perry, who composed the original music in the film. So all those elements and all that team, we stepped into this world of film and absolutely loved it.
Like, at what point when you were writing this script did you decide this is going to be a film, and that you were taking a departure from theatre? That was the scale of this, the visuals. I mean, it is prime for film. But at what point did you decide that was the route you were going to go with it, or had you ever planned to go the stage with it?
That's very funny, because I actually only ever saw this as a film. Do you know what I mean? You do have a lot of story ideas. You know, you might have one a day, but there's about one a year that stays with you, like that actually stays with you. I have to do this sometime, and it doesn't leave you. And this story was one of them. I had the idea for about, I think, 7 or 8 years. It just wouldn't leave me. And I actually wrote other screenplays, and I got a bit excited with the whole medium of writing visually in the screenplay. And I wrote these wild, wacky comedies with thousands of locations and unfilmable with millions, you know. So, but I think I was getting a lot out of my system on that one. But this was, I always saw this visually for some reason. I always felt it was a film from very early on. So it wasn't a question, and that is a good question. Sometimes you might have a story idea. Is it a TV show? Is it a film? Is it a play? But this one very much, and I suppose that's when you know it's strong, when it's very, very clear in your mind from early on.
And did you always know that Aaron was going to be your Jimmy? Did you have him in mind from early on?
Absolutely, yeah. I always did, yeah. before I even started writing the script, when I just had the idea, me and Aaron talked about that, about the story idea. And when he said he liked the idea, which was great, then I was like, brilliant. So when I was writing it, it was Aaron Monaghan as Jimmy Cullen moving from scene to scene, and I just visualized the whole thing with him in the part.
Jimmy goes to some very dark places, but there's always that undercurrent of comedy. So when you're tackling a character like that, does the performance-wise, does the comedy kind of help balance out those kind of the darker parts? And is the challenge to get the balance between the two sides?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, when you're in those really dark places, whether it's grief or depression or something like that, the whole world kind of seems ridiculous to you. Like even something like, why are you eating? Why are you drinking? Why are you doing normal things that, you know, because I'm in this place. So what I loved about the film was that, I don't know, he, in many ways to me, he seemed the most normal character. He's just depressed, and he's badly so, but like he's surrounded by these wacky characters, and then you have all these amazing actors coming on set being incredibly funny. So the temptation for me was to kind of match that, but actually I felt like the important thing was to kind of be true to this character who is so not that. Like he might kind of like particularly that Masha character kind of pulls him out and kind of saves him or redeems him to a certain degree. But I think it was the balancing act for me, that I have to be nearly the straight guy to all these amazingly funny comic characters, and that was a challenge, you know, to see if, you know, that's going to read on screen, or if there is going to be a journey there, like how minimal can you make that journey at the same time.
The children, I was supposed to say the childs of Prague. That is not a sentence word. The children of, and we have, are they plural? The children of Prague, whatever they are. Anyway, that was just absolutely hilarious. Where did you find that many children's?
Children. Yeah, the art department. So Noelle Slack was on props, and Helen McDermott was in the art department as well. So yeah, and my brother Joe. So we had my mother's very religious, so she had a few. So but we had a call out. Like, I mean, Mam got in touch with the ICA women, and there was a call out of the Irish. So a lot of all of them came locally. We bought quite a few as well, but yeah, it was the community of Cavan gave up their children of Prague for the film and beheaded them.
Absolutely, inspired. Absolutely inspired. I know we're coming up to the end of our time, but the question for you both then: what do you want audiences to take from the film?
Yeah.
Aaron.
I'll answer that. I'm supremely proud of this film. I'm like, you know, as an actor, you give up. You kind of yield your performance, your control over like all the different processes, whether it's the filming process or the editing process. I'm just really proud of what we've achieved on this and what ended up on a film. I hope they have a really, really good night at the cinema. That's it, because I think it's a cracking film. I think it's hilarious. I think there's darkness in it as well. I think it's a slice of Irish life, and hopefully they'll enjoy Cavan as well. That's what I want.
Right. Philip, what about you?
I want them to feel Irish rain. I'm joking. No, so I think no matter how dark things can get, you know, humor can lift you out of that. No matter how unbearable things can get, humor can be the hope or the antidote to that. So you need to have a laugh, and I hope people come to watch this film and really enjoy themselves and have a laugh.
Thank you very much. Best luck with release. Like I said, I absolutely loved it, and I can't wait to see it again. So congratulations.
Thanks.